Welcome to Getting Real with the Costas. This special episode series will be an exclusive. Here, both me and my wife talk about the ins and outs of running a business, being married, developing our money mindset, our polarizing family dynamics, and taking big risks in our lives. You may have always wondered what relationships we have with our friends and family. How can we actually balance our work and our life routine? You may be wondering how we communicate as a couple, or even what our health goals and struggles are that come up in our day to day jazz. Well, you are in luck because we get to talk about all this personally and more, completely unscripted. Welcome to Getting Real with the Costas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Getting Real with the Costas. We are so excited to bring to you guys another episode. And if this is the first time that you've tuned into one of these special episodes, basically, Andrew and I just come on and we just talk about all things life, business, finances, career, success, and everything in between. We just get real with you guys. So today we figured that we're going to be talking about the coaching industry. Andrew and I have been a coach for over 8 years now.
Yeah, definitely 8 years.
Yeah, so we've been in the coaching industry for quite some time, and we're going to just talk about more about like what the coaching industry is, our stance if everyone needs a coach, some things to really consider when hiring a coach, and just kind of dive in from there. So let's actually talk about like what the coaching industry is. So I think a lot of the times people, when they're wanting to hire a coach, right? A lot of the times it's like we put a coach or a service on a pedestal, and we believe that as soon as we hire a coach, everything's going to change. Like, I'm going to experience results tomorrow. I'm going to get quick fix results, right? And I honestly used to have this thought. Like, I used to be like, okay, I'm so ready to change, because I would be in this mindset. Like, when I was ready to do something, I was ready to do it. I was going to hire a coach. And I'm in that mindset of like, all right, I'm ready for results. Like, I used to do like bikini competitions, and I hired personal trainers, and I'm like, I'm ready for that change. But what people have to understand is like, this hiring a coach, yes, is great to give you that transformation, to get you that end result that you're looking for. But it is also not a like, here's a pill, take this pill and you're going to see results tomorrow, right? Having a coach is about the support. It's about the accountability, about, here is the step-by-step process. Here is what to do. But it's also giving you the support, the encouragement, the accountability, because you still have to put in the work, right? Like, when clients come to us, and they want to experience a transformation, whatever experience that they're looking for, right? It's like, we provide the tools, you implement the tools, and then we're there. If you have questions, this is not a self-paced service. This is not like, you get a product and you have to like try to figure out how to do it on your own, right? Coaches are there to guide you, to support you, to encourage you, because we all know those moments where it's like, oh, I'm not feeling motivated, or, oh, this is a challenge, or I'm going to a social event. Like, how do I eat? Or, I'm feeling bloated, or I'm feeling uncomfortable. Like, what do I do? Like, a coach is really there to almost like be in your back pocket, to support you, to encourage you every single step of the way. And I think people almost like, it took me a while to recognize that, because, I always expected like, I'm just going to see results. But like, you have to put in the work. Like, you have to actually utilize the tools. You actually have to show up to the calls. You actually have to implement what it is that you're learning, because that's where the transformation comes into play.
I couldn't agree more. I think people, when it comes to coaching, or when you hear the word coaching, you either have an innate positive relationship with coaching, or you have a negative one. And maybe your negative one was you hired a coach and you didn't get what you thought that you were going to receive, or you worked with someone and maybe they didn't actually show up as a coach. And many people, unfortunately, with our industry, coaching is really easy to get into. Like almost every single human being can just say, because of my experiences in life, I can coach someone else through, or I can be a coach and try to coach someone through what I've went through. And that's not coaching in my aspect. Like, of course, lived experience is really important. You have to be able to relate to people. You have to be able to connect with them on their level. But just because, like, for example, not every person is a good fit to be a teacher. And there's a really big difference with that, right? Like there's that saying, like, those who can't do teach. And it's like a lot of people out there, a lot of coaches out there, and this is where people start to not like coaching. They didn't master it themselves. They gave up and they were like, well, I'm just going to teach what I know to someone else and I'm going to charge money doing it. And coaching has this very, very kind of hit and miss relationship where either you work with a coach who changes your life, flips your life upside down in a positive way, in which you're like, wow, like that was completely like, I can't even put a cost on the change that's happened. Or you have someone in which you've paid a large cost and you go, that was a very expensive lesson, right? So I think from those two sides of it, you really have to come out of each and individual relationship. And when you're going into coaching, you have to ask yourself, in my mind, three things. So number one, what is the objective behind this? There are some people strictly searching for tools. There are other people who really, really want the support. And there are others who have almost like a ceiling and they're like, I've gone as far as I can by myself.
Yep.
And I know that in order to go to the next level, there either has to be a restructure within me
Mhm.
or a change internally for me to change.
Mhm.
So, number one, you have to go into there knowing what your objective is. Because sometimes, like, like in my aspect, right? Everybody just wants a diet plan. Do you actually need a diet plan? Is that going to be the tool that's actually going to help you? Do you need accountability because maybe you can't make it stick? Or do you actually, you're at this point now where you're like, my belief systems, my habits, and my routines are what's preventing me from making any diet or any change work long term. And that's really important. Objective is number one. Second thing that you look at is you have to look at it to say, from this growth mindset, how am I investing in this moment? And it's not just all about financial. You will have to invest time. You're going to have to emotionally invest because you're going to have to change who you are. And there's probably going to be a financial investment to it. Many people just throw money at a problem and think, hey, look, it's going to be fixed
Yeah.
because if I spend enough money, it's just going to go away. And it's like, this isn't like fixing a car. You're actually still going to, like Lorna talked about it, you're going to have to do the work required.
Mhm.
So on those levels, the financial, the emotional, and the mental aspect of it, what area are you going to have to, is it going to push you in terms of an investment? And I'll tell you something, with both me and Lorna, in every aspect in our life, we have been pushed. We have hired coaches that pushed us financially, which allowed us to break our limits. We hired coaches which pushed us mentally, which allowed us to break our mental capacity. And we hired coaches that they have taken it's put a lot of pressure on us emotionally and forced us to grow.
Yeah.
But if we were not willing to invest in those areas, then that coaching wouldn't have worked,
Yeah.
right? And that's where someone will say to themselves, "Oh, I've tried multiple coaches and they haven't worked." Okay, if you've worked with one person, okay, maybe you had a bad experience. Sorry to hear that. But if you've worked with three or four people, you've done multiple things, chances are it's not the coaches. Chances are on one of those three levels, you were not aware of the investment that it took. And then you started to pull back and you started to be scared of the process.
And I think this is a reason why a lot of people, sometimes fear reaching out and getting support, because it's like, oh shit, like this actually matters. Like I have somebody now to support me. I have that accountability. Like I actually have to show up for myself, right? And like some people love it. Some people are like, I need the accountability. Like, just tell me what to do and like I'm going to do it. Some people are very much like that. And then there are some people who are like, I'm just going to keep listening to a podcast, or I'm going to keep watching these workshops or these master classes for free or whatever, because as soon as I put money down and I invest, not just financially, but like time wise, like that means I actually have to like put in the work, right? And that can feel very exciting, but it can also feel scary for some people as well too, right? Because it's like it's go time type of thing. But there's different types of coaches, right? So it's like I believe that you need to figure out what you are specifically looking for, right? Andrew talked about like having lived experience is really important, right? Like if you are getting support from somebody who can relate to you, who can make you feel seen, who can make you feel understood, like that's obviously like really, really important. But you also need to have somebody that like can give you the step by step, like the strategy, right? What type of learner are you? Are you somebody that's like, listen, I don't want to have to think, like, just tell me what to do and I'm going to do it type of thing? Are you the type of person that follows your intuition more and wants to be more like more a little bit more spontaneous and more flexible? Like what type of coach are you actually looking for, right? I believe that you need a blend of somebody who has been through what it is that you're going through, right? Like they've had some type of experience so that you can relate to them. But then there's also that aspect of like, here, like, this is the step by step. Like, this is how, if you apply this, like, you're going to be able to experience that transformation, right? Because I think for a lot of people, it's just like, what are your credentials? And it's like, that's important, right? Like having certifications, like that's all important. Like we obviously make sure we do that, right? But you can go to somebody who on paper, like boom, everything makes sense. It's like X plus Y equals Z. Like, yep, that makes sense. But then it's like you don't feel seen. You don't feel understood. It's like because they've never gone through something that you're going through yourself, right? And like I you can share if you want, but like I see this with a lot of my clients. Like they're like, I've gone to therapy, like I've hired a therapist, like, and I'm just like, I don't feel like they understand it. Like I don't feel like they understand me. Or I went to my doctor, and it's like we always go to these professionals because it's like, well, that's what we're told. Like it's like almost like I don't know who else can help me, right? And like I was guilty of this. Like I went to a therapist, I went to a doctor before actually hiring like a binge eating coach. But it's like somebody can have it all down like on paper, but then it's like they don't make you feel seen. And feeling seen and feeling understood is actually what can expedite your journey, because there's something so special about like just not feeling alone and having people understand you.
Yeah. I think when it comes to the credential aspect, most people ask for credentials because when you're scared or you're nervous, you want something to be able to ease your fear in that moment.
Of course.
Where like, like you hire a contractor to fix something in your house and you're like, you got insurance, right? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, oh, phew, right? But it's like, that still doesn't mean that they might not damage your house. That still doesn't mean that there might not be a bad job that happens with that. Like the reality is the certifications, the qualifications, the degrees, the type of licensing that's required in any industry, not just in coaching. It's only one piece of the puzzle. Because just like everyone has been to a doctor that has either diagnosed them wrong, or I'm sure you have someone in your family who is like, my doctor doesn't listen to me, or things like that. Like at the end of the day, there are people who have double the schooling and who do not have that connectivity or understanding,
Yeah.
because that's just not in their capacity to do so, right? So yeah, I agree with Lorna. You need to have a blend of both, right? That being said, which is, I think something we should bring up. Like, we get a lot of questions on, like, do you guys have coaches? Have you used coaches? Like, I don't know if coaching is for me aspect of it. Like, I'm in personal belief, uh, my personal belief, I should say, is that, I mean, everybody can benefit from a coach, every single person, right? We've hired coaches when it comes to our health. We've hired coaches when it comes to our business. And if you think of coaching, like, really anytime like a friend is giving advice to another person, right? They're coaching them through a problem. Like, you use coaching every single day of your life. Okay. You coach your kids how to be better in life as a human being, doing whatever. So it's like a part of of accepting coaching, or a part of it of accepting feedback, is you want growth. If you are someone who is always looking for growth, if you're someone who's always improving and changing and constantly becoming better, coaching is already a part of your life. It doesn't have to have that label or a name. You could call it a teacher, you could call it a sensei. It doesn't matter what it is. The reality is you are actively learning lessons that are changing the way you mentally think or you physically act, for you to then progress in your life. That's coaching. So if you're like, is coaching for me? 9 times out of 10, you're probably already doing it in some shape or form.
Mm-hmm. And like anytime, you're thinking like, do I need a coach? I think a lot of the times people think like, I need to be at rock bottom and then I'll like hire a coach. But we've hired coaches when things are good to get even better. Like even last year, I hired a business coach and like my business was doing good, but I'm like, I want to be even better. And sometimes it's like our health is good, but it's like, I want to optimize things. Like you maybe heard of people, it's like, or even like athletes and things like that, right? It's like, things are working, things are going well, but it's like they want to be the best of the best. So they have, the masseuse, they have the trainer, they have this because it's like they want to become the best version of themselves. So you also don't have to hire a coach when things are like broken and you're like at rock bottom, right? Like things could be like pretty good, but it's like I want to become even better.
You know why I think people do that? Because a lot of times, and this is like as real as this gets, and this might like be kind of like like you guys listening might hear this and be like, oh, like that's kind of hard to hear, but I think it's true, and it's something I've accepted for myself. Coaching always tends to be the last resort, or getting help is always the last resort, because it means that you have to work on yourself, and no one wants to believe that they're a part of the problem. We give a lot of our responsibility and our power to other things. We like to blame family members when for our eating habits. We like to blame, partners for lifestyle. We like to blame our work for not having boundaries. And it's like, when we try everything ourselves to remove all of those things and we're still having a problem, that means fundamentally there is something that needs to grow within you. So in order to say to yourself and put your hand up and say, hey, I want to work with someone, you have to first acknowledge there is something that I'm doing that's not right. You have to then take ownership of that. And I feel like in the way that we've built society now, we give our ownership to other people. We want other people to make decisions for us, because we think that that's going to either make faster results or get us to a better place. But we are the only people who are in 100% control of our health. And like, especially through this year, it's taken a lot of internal learning for me to recognize I'm the cause of everything in my own life. So if something happens and I don't like the way it happened, what was it that I did to contribute to that feeling or to contribute to what's happening? And that's why I think coaching is lost, because when people get to this place where they're like, okay, you know what? I think it's like I have to look at me. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing else on the table, right? You know what I mean? Common denominator, you're part of the challenge as well too.
I also think too, it's like with that being said, it's like you're not broken.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you don't hire a coach to be fixed because you're not broken. But sometimes it's just like peeling back the layers, helping you have a different perspective, helping you just have that, like I said, accountability to like do the thing that you know you need to do, but there's like this disconnect between you actually doing it, right? Or it's like rewiring your limiting beliefs about like your capabilities or your self-belief, your self-worth. Like it's not that you're broken and it's not like you need to be fixed, but sometimes we can't see things ourselves, right? Like it's really hard to clear limiting beliefs ourselves because it's like we see our life from like one perspective, you know? So it's not that, again, you need to hire a coach because oh my god, like I'm so broken, like I need to be fixed, like please fix me. It's like you're not even broken. It's really about, like I said, just like becoming more of who you've always been. Like that's the way that I really see it.
It's the transformation and growth. Like you're going
Yeah.
to have multiple ceilings in your life. And what happens is every time you get to this place where you know that you deserve more and you know that you can be an even better version, you're going to press up against that ceiling. And that pressure is going to say, I've got to move, I've got to do something. And that pressure increases. And, you know, it's not about a feeling of fixing or not. What we're doing is we must break the ceiling that's over you to show you what is actually present, you
Yeah.
know? And me and Lorna have done that multiple times through our life. You know, when at the beginning we had to break through the ceiling of like, you know, can we actually build a business? Someone who's never had a business in their entire lives,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like, once you break the ceiling, it then comes down to, you know, can we actually build a business and have boundaries and do it in a way that's realistic for us? Every single time we were met with new challenges and we were pushed up against what our old self's maximum potential was.
Mm-hmm.
And then in order to break through that ceiling, you have to create a new self that has new potential.
Yeah.
So of course, you can take all of the things that you like from the old self, right? You're not throwing the old you away. You're saying like, this is version, you know, 2.0. What is it
Yeah.
that I liked from version 1? What am I leaving behind from version 1? So then that way I can continue to build and be a better person.
And speaking of like different versions, it's so interesting because like we started this coaching industry 8 years ago. And like so much has changed, like even in terms of like my beliefs and like coaches telling us to do certain things. And it's so interesting, right? Like I was told like, you know, you know, send messages to people
Random
and like
people.
random, like just
Oh
randomly
God, it's
message
the worst.
people and like, like just go in their DMs and start a conversation. And I felt so icky doing that. Like I felt like I hated it. I was like procrastinating it because I'm like, this doesn't feel right. But again, when you hear somebody telling you to go do something, like you're, it's like, oh well, this is what I have to do. Okay, fine. I guess I'll do it. Like I don't know. Like that's like, somebody telling you, okay, you have to only eat 1,200 calories and you can't eat after 7 o'clock and you have to do 10 hours of cardio. And it's like, okay, I don't know if this feels right, but like, I'm going to do it. Right. And it's like, this side note, you know your body best. Like, you know yourself best. Right. But anyways, so I remember like being told like send these like whole DMs and like just message people. And I'm like, it felt like, oh, I wanted to literally throw up. And I've recognized over the years of like, you don't have to do that crap. Like, you know what I mean? It's so interesting. Like, I love the clients that I work with because they come into my DMs and they're like, I am so excited to work with you. Like, what options do you have? And I truly believe that that builds a much stronger foundation as a coach client relationship because like when you're like, hunting for clients and you're like doing these cold DMs and you're reaching out to random people, it's like that was never like a fun time. Now it's like, clients come to me and people might ask me like, you know, like do you have like a website where people can just like join your stuff? I always get people to message me. Why? I want to have a conversation with you guys before coming into my programs. Like, I want to get to know you. I want to make sure that this is an amazing fit, and I think that's really important. Like, I care so much about the clients that I work with. Like, I'm not going to just send a random message to somebody and be like, hey, like, do you need help? It's like, I want to get to know you. And like, we have so much fun in my programs. And I think like that was one of like my biggest irks, like cold messages. I was even told like, I have to do like these sales calls and things like that. And obviously you can talk about your perspective on that. But, I really did not like doing sales calls. Like, I really did not like them because I felt like there was like so much pressure. And like, I am not here to convince you to join my program. Like, I will never ever convince you to work with me. If you don't want to be part of something, that's fine. Right? Like I said, it's like I don't do sales calls. Like, I say like DM me, and it's so much more fun, and I trust the timing of everyone's life. I have some people who are like, I'm ready to work with you. And then it's like, they actually need a few months. I have some people who are like, I'm so ready to work with you. And they're in like the same within like 5 minutes, right? I trust everybody's timing. But what I will say is this: if you have ever asked a coach about their program, or you're interested in somebody's program, and maybe you didn't sign up, like, that is totally okay. But you felt that pull for a reason. You had this feeling of I'm ready for a reason. So although I trust everyone's timing, and maybe you need a few weeks, maybe you need a few months, but I just hope that you actually go and get the support that you need, because that pull, like that feeling of like I'm ready to change, I'm ready to do this for myself, like that's not there by coincidence. Like, that is there for a reason. And whether you need to wait because finances, whether you got to wait because time wise, maybe you got to wait because of whatever reason, it's like I just hope that like you don't let fear get in the way, and you go and you take that step, because it honestly is going to change your life. If you felt that pull, like, it's there for a reason. But that's what I would say about like something that irked me. Like, I don't know, I don't know, like, even for like me, like when I think about joining a program or like hiring a coach, like, I don't need to talk to somebody. Again, I'm just sharing my perspective. I don't need to talk to somebody for 45 minutes. Like, if I'm interested in somebody's program, I'm like, hey, can you just send me the link? Like, how do I pay you? How do I get started? Like, I'm in, like, let's go. Let's freaking go. Like, I don't want to be spending, and like days like, oh, we got to hop on this call and then we got to do this. And I'm like, just tell me how to join the freaking thing. And I realized like that's how I buy from people. Like, last year, there was a business coach, there was a coach that I worked with, and I was just like, hey, like, I want to work with you one on one, like, whatever, like, how much is it? What's the process? And she literally like sent the link, and I just like signed up right away. And it's like that's how I personally buy now. Like, I don't need all the details. Like, I don't need all this like crazy information. I just need to know the basics. I need to know the person that I trust. Like, I usually listen to their podcast and I'm like, okay, I resonate with them. I know I want to work with them. So like, I don't need a call type of thing.
Mm-hmm. I think in every aspect, there's so many different ways of being able to reach out and connect with a coach. And you being on social media all the time, the fact
Yeah.
that like you love that communication that way,
Yeah.
like everyone, and there's been no secret to this, guys. Like, I'm not a fan of social media. I'm not. Like, I
Yeah.
try to avoid it like the plague. And in my aspect, that's the only reason why I still do individual calls,
Yeah.
because the less that I can be on that platform, the better.
Yep.
Otherwise, however you message me is however you message me. That's totally fine,
Yeah.
right? But I think the biggest thing, it comes down to the three aspects that Lorna was talking about. It's trust. So that's number one. You have to trust the person in which is there. Number two is you have to be open in that pull. When Lorna says, you're feeling that pull that is there, sometimes fear can kind of bring you out of that pull.
Yeah.
And if it's a reoccurring thing, you want to be able to, of course, sit down and say, like, how come this fear keeps coming up with me? Because coaching, is something that can help you through that. And maybe that's exactly why you need to coach, is because you are scared in that moment, right?
Yeah.
In terms of some of the industry things you had mentioned, cold messaging. um, I will share with you, there was an experience that we had, or I should say that I had personally, where I had hired a coach that had said a lot of the right things, but was just teaching copy, like kind of a watered down version of someone else's stuff. And the process was all the same. And I'm sure, like, you guys and gals, you get tons of it, right? Lorna talks about the cold messages. You message people you don't know, right? You reach out and you pretend to have interest in other people's businesses, and then you like try to kind of pitch them your product, which is also a no, right? And a lot of those things felt really uncomfortable because they're not genuine. Real coaches are genuine for real because they really want to help. And they don't, like, whether you're messaging Lorna individually or you're hopping in a conversation with me, our objective is not to sell you. That's not the objective. Our objective is not to say, okay, we're gonna close this person and we've got a spreadsheet of stuff. We don't give a crap about any of that. Number one is, can we actually help you? That's number one. And if we can, what does that look like? How do
Yeah.
we move forward together in a way that makes sense? And then do that. And a lot of my biggest pet peeve in the industry was, like, people who you went into calls, you had a script, you had this objective, which was like, I'm gonna absolutely pressure someone to join. And that's a huge key too. If someone's pressuring you to join, right? Like, think of it this way. If you have to be pressured to joining something, they're going to have to keep pressuring you throughout the rest of the program, right? Just like if you join out of guilt, you're going to have to be guilted into doing the rest of the program. Real coaches want you to be excited. I want you to be so excited when you're working with me.
Yeah.
I want you to say, I can't wait to do this. I want to do this.
Yeah.
We can't force you to do it, because at the end of the day, when it comes down to doing our action steps or making the changes, that comes down to you, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to, like, appear inside your home and, like, help you in the kitchen and do the stuff, right? Like, that's not realistic. So it's like, at the end of the day, if you're not excited and if you don't have a powerful why to take that next step, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And that's why all of those, the kind of typical coaching models that really are just focusing on, like, we just got to sign somebody up. We think that that's BS,
Yeah.
and that's why the stuff that me and Lorna does looks a lot different.
Yeah.
And people have a lot more questions because they're like, I've never worked with a coach like this.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, because it's not just this thing where you're like, next, here's the next person. We're here to make sure that we're helping you in the way that you need in that moment.
And I want to share, like, I talked about, like, perfect timing, and I truly believe that, right? And, I had this one client reach out to me. It was exactly like a month ago, and she was asking me about my program. And, like, I will check in and I will say, like, hey, like, what are your thoughts if I don't hear from you? But, like, that's it. Because I know that you're, like, probably a busy adult. Like, if you want to join, like, you're going to join, right? Like, you don't need to be handheld, like, how to join a program type of thing, right? And she messaged me about a month later. So now I'm working with her. And she sent me a message like, thanks for your patience. Like, I'm ready now. Like, how do I get started? And I was the most excited for that, because when somebody's ready to be coached, like, that's one of the most beautiful things. When you're actually ready, like, I'm present, I'm ready to do this. Like, I am ready to make a change for myself, like you show up so much more powerfully in the program because you are ready. And now don't think you need to have all of your ducks in a row and you have to be like super ready, because first of all, what does ready even mean? And it's not like things have to be perfect, and I don't have fear. Okay, now I'm going to go hire a coach. Like there's always going to be some type of fear, right? Like there's always going to be some type of fear, but in your heart, like, okay, it's time, and I really love that. I got that message of like, like, thanks for being patient. Like, I'm ready to do this because I just know that like that was all on her own time. And like, she's going to show up because she's ready.
100%, right? And I think there's, just like people have to be ready for programs, there's also different levels of commitments with coaches,
Yeah.
depending on how ready you are. And that's
Yep.
really, really important because, just like we talk about, some people only need tools, some people want accountability.
Yep.
Like in terms of your readiness and what you are prepared to work on, you have to look at all of those things, right? Like physically, mentally, emotionally, where am I, and at what can I benefit right now?
Yeah.
Like both of us do master classes and live trainings, right? Which is a great way if someone is like, I'm learning about the problem initially. I need more information to understand what's going on, and some quick action steps and some maybe a few tools to just get started and
Yeah.
apply. Right? You're relatively new in the area. It's tough for you to determine like where you are, what level of support you actually need. Those are great starts, and that's a great way of being able to do that, right? And then a step up from those is actually doing like, a kind of a self-paced program, right? In which whether you're working with Lorna or myself, the self-paced programs are really about someone who's like, what, I have a high level of accountability within myself. I know exactly the action steps that I need. I just don't know how to do this.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what to do.
I'm not sure how to do this, and I need the tools.
Yep.
Right. Like truly, that's it. They're like, give me the tools, I'm going to fire off, and I'm going to start this and do this, right? And again, that's great for people who don't need a level of accountability and who are like they've got taken that initiative. Amazing. Then a self-paced program is for you, and that's going to help continue to build.
Yeah.
Right? But then as you start going up, you start getting into programs that put you in a group setting, like whether it's a group coaching program, doesn't matter how long, could be 3 weeks, could be 8 weeks. As we continue to expand, what this gives you now is community. It gives you support from a community perspective, which gives you a really high level of accountability.
Yep.
It's accountability to the people in the group. It's learning from the people in the group, and it's getting a deeper understanding to break down either the habits or the routines that have you doing this, or really help changing your headspace around what that change is. So as you continue to go up in different levels, you're going to be like the what's going to be expected of you is going to be different.
Yeah.
In terms of that change, right? And then of course there's working with us one-on-one, in which people have that ability. If someone is like, listen, I want this sole dedication to my time, I want to heavily invest in my headspace, I want to work exclusively with the coach, so that way I everything that is there I can immediately implement on,
Mhm.
as well as be a part of those group coaching calls where I'm getting that support. Then that requires, again, that willingness to, okay, you're going to show up, you're going to have that high level, and be able to invest that time as well.
And this is why, you guys, like, VIP group coaching or VIP one-on-one coaching is the highest level of investment, because you're getting our time, right? So the thing is, it's like when you join, let's say, like a master class, like a one-time training, we can deliver a training to many, many, many people, right? So we can put it at a lower price for you. What?
I was gonna say, you can't be in two places at once, just like sex.
Oh my gosh. Well, who knows nowadays? I don't know. but we can put on a masterclass, a one-time training with like a bunch of different people. Right? So it's like we can offer this to you at a lower cost because it just makes sense, right? Then when it comes to, maybe a group program or something like that, where it's like on a specific topic or whatnot, it's like, again, we can offer it at a still a lower price point than like one-on-one coaching, but it is going to be a little bit more because maybe there are some Q&A opportunities, right? So again, that is our time, like being there and giving you that coaching. And then obviously when it comes to higher level coaching, like, small group programs or one-on-one, that is our time. And it's not like, oh, it's my time, I have to charge like $1 million. It's not about that, but it's the customization. It's, we have tools, like we have trainings that you can plug into, listen to. But when you're looking for customization, that's where it becomes a higher level of investment because we have to craft things specific to you, right? And this is why, like, personally, like, I don't do free coaching in my DMs. Like, if you ask me a question in my DMs, like, obviously depending on what the question is, but I will either like guide you to my podcast or guide you to a program of mine because my clients pay me like a ton of money for that personalization, for that coach. Think about it. Like, we post content, like I post content. There's so many answers out there, but I'm saving you the time to have to go scroll and like figure things out yourself, right? So for example, it's like, let's say you're going out for dinner, right? And you're just like, I don't know what to order or like whatever it is, right? Like, I'm sure you can find that somewhere on my page, for example. But it's like, are you gonna on a Friday night at 6 o'clock be like, okay, I gotta go find the answer, like, where is it? And then you have to try to customize it to you. Like, coaching just makes things easier for you, customizable for you, and it takes the guesswork out, especially that higher level coaching, right? Like, again, a masterclass is like information, and then like one-on-one coaching or group coaching is like the customization, the flexibility. Now, this does not mean that a masterclass is less valuable than one-on-one coaching. It's not less valuable because it's less expensive. It just means that you have less access to your coach. So it really depends on the type of support that you're looking for. I think, sometimes people put like, high level coaching on a pedestal. And if that's what you want, like if that's the type of support that you want, obviously, but also don't see like a masterclass as not valuable. Like we've had people in our masterclasses that are like, literally like, this changed my life, like this one thing that you said, or like this one masterclass, like it opened up my eyes to a whole different perspective. So if even like high level coaching isn't something for you right now, even financially, like you better be in like a masterclass or like another program where you can start learning from, because those are like literally tools that can change your life.
Absolutely. And the ability to learn exists everywhere. Like it is safe to say, and I mean, you have a lot more episodes than I do on my podcast, right? But like I was just looking at my podcast, and it's like, average podcast, 38 minutes. There's 56 or so there's 50 episodes, not including tea and teachings. Like there's literally 50 hours worth of content easily that's there, So being able to learn at any capacity or at any time, it's like you should always be looking for those areas to growth if this is something that you want, and if you want to be able to make that change. That's why the content exists. Me and Lorna understand that, like, ultimately what our goal is we want to help as many people as possible.
Yeah.
That's why the podcast exists. That's
Yep.
why we do our tea and teachings online. And when it comes to doing those things, we give those things away freely because we recognize that sometimes people truly just need the information,
Yep.
right? And they need to be able to understand what's going on, because you might not always get answers from your doctor or from other people that
Yeah.
are around you, right? So that's really, really important. But like she said, every single thing that exists has the same level of value. It
Yep.
really does. It's just what you are looking for and how you're going to be applying it while working with a coach.
And something that I love so much about the coaching industry, you guys, is like, it is so beautiful to see like our clients say to us, like, you're changing my life. Like, you're making such a huge impact on my life. I had one client that literally was like this week inside of my coaching call. She's like, I just want to thank you because like I feel like I've actually gotten my social life back. Like I was able to meet up with a friend from high school and I didn't like stress out about my body. Like I haven't seen it in a little while. Like I wasn't scared of like showing my body and I had such an amazing time. And that's great. Like obviously we're here to make a huge impact on your life, but you have to realize like we're helping you change your life, but as a result, you're also changing our lives because we get to live out our purpose. Like we wake up every single day, like so freaking excited to coach you, to support you, to help you to see that transformation. Like we get so excited when our clients experience wins and like, oh my gosh, like I was able to eat this food and not feel bloated, or I was able to eat without guilt, or like all of these different things. Like we get so excited, but also like as a result of you, you know, you getting the support and hiring us as coaches, like, yes, we get to live out our purpose, but also like you're changing our lives, like even in terms of like financially. Like I didn't even think that like I just started a business and I'm like, oh, I don't know, I just want to help people. But like now what we're able to do as a result of that, like it's pretty mind blown. Like it's crazy. So as much as we're changing your lives, like you're also changing our lives as well too. And that's such a beautiful thing. I
100%.
believe.
And it's like energy is never like lost or destroyed, like it's just transferred.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is. Like as coaches in higher states, we transfer some of our energy to you so you can grow, so you can be better, so you can show up as the best version of yourself. And then you go ahead and you pass that energy on to other people.
Yeah.
You show up better for your partners, you show up
Yep.
better for your kids, and you also then pass some of it back to us in a different form because you're like, thank you so much. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy because if I were to look at like I have, oh geez, with the, I think it's been 4 years. I have a woman who's working with me, and it started off with just hormones, nutrition, and then it went into the stress management because that's what has changed. And it's been 4 years that I've been working with this person, and that relationship has been so beautiful. Not because it's just like, oh, she's my client and I'm her coach, but through every aspect of the way, I've been able to watch this
Yeah.
human being grow and show up as the best sister for her family. And that's incredible to me. And whenever she's like, oh, like I was able to do this because of you, like that's a huge part in contribution that like I'm very proud of doing. And that's
Yeah.
why we show up as coaches every day, is really to make those impacts
Mhm.
all the time.
Yeah. And that's something else as well too. Like, you know, clients that work with us for a longer period of time, it's not that like, oh, I didn't see results, so like I need to work with you for X amount of time, but it's like some of our clients don't want to leave because they love the support and they love the community, they love the accountability. Some people are just like, I want to keep going, and it's so much easier to coach somebody and stay with a coach than hop from coach to coach because it takes time for us to learn about our clients, right? So when we have a client come in, it's like, you're getting to know like their learning style. You're getting to learn like, do they need tough love? Do they need more a gentle
Yeah. Their love
approach?
language, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their love language, right? So it's like when clients work with us, like whatever, a few months or whatever, it's like we're getting to know like how to coach them even better. And then we know about their life, like the people that we work with on a more intimate basis, like people in my academy or for you, like your programs, right? It's like we get to learn even about like things that are going on in their household, things that are going on in their relationship, things that are impacting their mental health. And like when we learn more about a client that we can't necessarily know if you just like join a one-time masterclass. Like when you actually work with us at a more intimate level and we get to know all different areas of your life, then we can see like, oh, okay, well, maybe you're feeling this way because this one area isn't resolved, or like we got to work on this. So it's like, you just learn so much more about the client. And
100%.
it's also like fun. Like we have great relationships with our clients. Like I have so much fun with my clients, but I also have very strong boundaries, but it's fun,
100%.
Yeah.
And keep in mind as well too, like people working with us for that long, like if they didn't see results, no one in their
They
right
would
mind
not be
would stay for
continuing,
4 years,
obviously.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
But no, like your client, like, so one of his clients, like, first it was about like the nutrition. And then now it's like almost like for you, it's like almost like the life coaching, right?
I can like quickly off the top of my head, 2 of them have been 7 years. One's been 6,
Yeah.
and then this one's been 4.
Yeah.
And that's just literally off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like it's such huge growth, right?
Well,
It's growth, and I love being a part of their lives, and being, I feel honored being chosen by them to be a part of that for so long.
yeah.
Right.
And even for me, like, I initially help obviously my clients with like the binge eating and the emotional eating and stuff. But like when we've worked together for so long and like not so long, but like when I've helped you heal your relationship with food, like I've helped my clients like release the people pleasing tendencies in them. And like one of my clients literally was at like a very toxic job. And I was like helping her work through like, that transition period. So it's like coach, like we're so much more than like, here is step by step of what to do. Like, like we're so much more invested in who you are as a person and like what's actually going on in your life to really support you in the best way.
You know what? And I think like I kind of feel as we're having this conversation that it's kind of like right to put this out there. Like we've been coaches for so long, and I was talking with to you about this yesterday, right? I was talking to about actually doing like a live event, right? And actually being able to go in and spend a day, have a stay where, we're working on relationships, where we're working on headspace, where we're working on even just being able to like change your health in a really powerful and impactful way. And it's something like as we continue to grow as coaches, so much more I think is also going to change in terms of what we do. And I'm just like, I'm so excited for steps like that like now we get to envision like, okay, we're helping everybody every day, but how can we, make, even bigger impacts each and every day with different ways and styles. So
yeah, no,
I'm
it's
excited for that.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And it's like even the way like we just even transition like how we coach our clients, like it's just like our evolution in and of itself has been really exciting to see as well too, and like, you know, I love the coaching industry. I love doing online coaching. Like many of you guys know, if we haven't listened to the episode, we talked about having a fitness studio, but like we're not limited to who we coach. Like we have clients in the UK, the States, Canada, Italy, like what other New Zealand for me, France. There was also Colombia. I think it was Germany. I have clients in Australia that I'm working with right now, and it's literally the most amazing thing how we can make such a big impact on somebody's life. And yeah, it's just been really cool.
Absolutely, yes.
So I think what we can, there's so much more we can obviously talk about, but I think that we're going to wrap up there. So yeah, this is about the coaching industry. We love it. We love supporting you guys. We love making a huge impact in your life. And if you never know like where to get started, maybe you're like, hey, like I am struggling, like I don't know where to get started, like please like send us a message. Like obviously we're here to support you, and we're very, very much like going to tell you what's going to be, oh, it keeps freezing, what's going to be the best option for you, right? Like not everybody needs one-on-one coaching. Not everybody needs a one-time masterclass. Like we're going to be there to really guide you and like help you figure out the best solution for yourself. So that is all for another episode of Getting Real with the Costas.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.